Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed online and at the cinema. From the kids who will have to restrain themselves from singing in this episode to avoid a copyright violation, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Helena.
I'm Ezra.
And I'm Maddie. We had our 1-year anniversary last week as of this recording. It was on February 14th. So we are releasing this episode later because the last one was about Karl Urban. Look, it's our podcast and we can do whatever we want. So happy 1-year anniversary episode, everybody.
Yay!
Happy 1-year anniversary! I can't believe you know what? I would just like to say on air, and I've said it in person before, well, you know what I mean, that I'm really proud of us for sticking with this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad that we have, because I've had a lot of fun over a year of committing audio shenanigans with the two of you, and I'm glad that I get to keep doing it.
We're never allowed to use the word shenanigans ever again.
You know what? I the number of ugly but strangely compelling clothing pieces I own, I'm allowed to use the word shenanigans because I make it work.
Okay, fair.
Helen and I are banned, however.
Yeah, no, I get
exempted
one use
from
of
this
the word.
ban.
I have one use of the word shenanigan per day. I used the word goof today in replace of the word joke in front of my father, and I used it a couple of times in a sentence to the point where he was like, goofs? And I was like, never mind, I've just been listening to too much of a certain podcast, so my vocabulary is being effective. It's fine.
Too many goofs.
You've
listened to too many of the goofs. Yeah, our podcast is goof-free, I would say.
This is a
goofless
zone. We found laughs in a goofless place. God, you know what? It is one of the great pleasures of my life when I make Maddie make that noise.
I know. I was gonna say that was really good. I was gonna say I have no goof and I must scream, but that one's also really good.
Fuck, this podcast is really just the two of you competing to see how many times I can make that fucking sound in one episode.
Today it is.
No, it doesn't help that Helena fucking killed me before we even started the episode. So
that's totally fair. It's we're past the middle of February. The sun is making its slow but sure journey back.
It's trying.
It's trying really hard. Shit's starting to climb out of the icy mud of winter or whatever. I'm feeling like my seasonal depression is lifting. And so, yeah, today this show apparently is about seeing how many times I can make my best friend make that wacky fucking noise. And, I think that's okay.
You should make Maddie say what they've seen now so that we can spend the rest of the time of the what we sneep at part of it trying to make you do that again. It won't work, but it'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyway.
Fucking hooligans.
Go for it.
So I was totally blanking on what I had seen because I watched so much shit for the last episode that I was like, I don't know. I watched so many movies and then I forgot how to watch a movie. But after we recorded the last episode, that next day I was like, I'm gonna be busy for the next week and a half. I will not have the ability to watch movies. I want to watch a movie. And I watched Snowpiercer, so I went from bad movies to very, very good movie. I had never seen Snowpiercer. Oh, so good. Yes, I'd never seen it.
Hell yeah.
And I had been told for years, Maddie, you would really like this movie. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just fucking do it. I just sat down and I just did it. Oh, yeah, God, it was so good. Obviously, this was almost 2 weeks ago, so I'm blanking a little bit on specific thoughts I had. Pardon me. But what I mostly remember, aside from the fact that visually stunning, amazing cinematography, great concept and great execution of a great concept, and phenomenal acting. Just all around extremely solid movie that was very well executed. I was looking something up about it, and I saw these articles about why the ending of Snowpiercer was disappointing or something. And let me just say, hard disagree.
I haven't seen it, but
I will not talk about it any further.
Okay.
If it's a non-spoilery way to,
Helena, the not spoilery way is to say those people are wrong, and I don't have any professional cred, but if I did, I would stake that on it.
Yes, agreed. And I read
my
those
amateur cred.
Exactly. I'll stake my podcast cred on it.
Yeah.
I saw those articles before I had finished the movie, so I was like, oh, I'm interested to see what the ending of the movie is, so I can kind of figure out how I feel about it. And I saw the ending, and I was, even with that, like, oh, it's disappointing, I was like, actually, I very strongly disagree. To be fair, I read those articles, and as I was watching the movie, I was like, I very much doubt this movie could do literally anything at this point to make me disappointed. And I was right, because I know myself very well. So, yeah, God, well worth watching. I think it's on Netflix still, so
nice.
If you got it, like, watch it. It is obviously, like, that would be a Cheka, does the dog die? Helena, I think you're alright. I don't think there's anything that's Helena-specific issues.
Yeah, you should, cool. As far as I know, as far as I can remember, I think you, from what I know, but from my just sort of, like, knowledge of stuff that you need to watch out for, I think it's probably okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dope. That's the movie where, that Harvey Weinstein interfered
totally
with
shafted. Yeah.
And that's the one with that story about director Bong saying that, like, there was a scene or a shot in the movie with a fisherman
fish scene. Yeah.
Like, just like, what is he, like, skinning a fish or gutting a fish or something?
Yes, and he's like, we have to keep it in because my dad was a fisherman, and Harvey Weinstein was like, wow. And so later he was like, I fucking lied.
Yeah, no.
I just wanted to keep
Harvey
that
Weinstein
scene
was like,
in.
I don't like that this is in the picture, it slows it down, and Bong was like, yes, but
it's really
but my dad.
But my dad.
He's like, oh yeah, like family's really important, and I'm like, yeah, you rapist piece of shit.
Yeah, you dumb asshole.
You dumb idiot. Anyway.
Yeah, and he totally ruined the release and, like, got it swept under the rug because he was mad because they wouldn't edit it the way he wanted it edited. So, anyway, it's a goddamn masterpiece, and you should watch it. That's what I saw.
Seconded. I guess I'll go next, because I watched, I started watching Stargate Atlantis again with a friend, like, literally today, and it had been a while. We've been sort of, like, we're getting towards the end of season 3, because I had never seen any of SGA before, and it's fun, and it's really, like, there's just a sort of vibe that I'm having trouble articulating, that of the way that, like, TV worked kind of up until I think maybe like the mid 2000s, and it just has a really, really different flavor than and especially or like, because it's like TV that was still, like, fairly episodic, because you were getting orders for 21, 22, 23 episodes a season. And so that's just, it makes you write your television shows really differently than when you might only ever have 12 episodes total. It's a very different storytelling process. And sometimes I kind of miss the ones where, like, you have just episodes that have more of the arc plot than others. And sometimes you're like, I don't know, man, somebody had this dumb, wacky idea and we want to turn it into a fucking episode of our show. I think that could be fun. And also, like, the continuing extent to which, like, the entire main cast of Stargate Atlantis really just needs to, like, touch faces is great. Look, there's this episode where, like, they think they're gonna have to watch Rodney die, like, slowly, and, like, he, like, is terrible about, he's, like, kind of a shitty person, is, like, terrible about articulating his emotions. He actually, like, hugs a couple of them, and then, like, he has this very, like, sort of, like, antagonistic but intense relationship with John Shepherd, and they, like, hug, and there's this very, like, clunky no homo line from one of them, and you're like, fuck off. And so, like, and it's, you know, they're like, oh, he's not actually gonna die or whatever, and then, like, it fades, and my friend looks at me and it's just like, yeah, I mean, like, and that hug should have been a kiss on the mouth, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't. Because it's just, yeah. And so I was like, wow, I can't believe that the entire main cast just, like, touched faces after blackout. We can give them their privacy. But it's such a good ensemble show, and I feel like one of the things that I think is missing from these more streamlined TV shows is that they just don't support well-rounded ensembles in the same way, because the great thing about those shows was that you could have a bigger ensemble. You could have 5, 6, 7 people who you were really invested in, and each of them could get a feature episode or 2 over the course of a whole season.
Yeah, which is great.
It gave more people, and you could have, like, not just an episode about character A, but it could be like, oh, let's have an episode on, like, the relationship between character A and character F, who don't always spend that much time together, but have a really interesting dynamic. Like, let's give them a whole episode. Let's stick them in a fucking little shuttlecraft or whatever together and, like, see what happens. You got to like, experiment more.
Share the shuttlecraft.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Like share the bed pick. Yeah,
mm-hmm. A classic.
It's bed sharing trope, but it's a shuttlecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, or like Star Trek Enterprise, which did the space equivalent of the proverbial Canadian shack, which was a shuttlecraft that was running out of power.
Oh, a classic, yes.
It was being trapped in the Canadian shack and having to huddle for warmth, but in space.
Oh, you love to see it.
We do indeed love to see it.
Hey, let me know when you get to season 6, episode 21, apparently. Because
there's only 5 seasons of Stargate Atlantis?
Okay. So specific. Are you thinking about, like, regular ass Stargate?
I'm thinking about SG-1, yeah.
Oh, what are you thinking about in SG-1?
I'm thinking about season 6, episode 21, because that's the episode that one of my acting teachers is in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cute.
That is cute. Sorry,
you showed us a clip from it.
Nice. I was like, is there some specific thing related to, like, the Canadian shack?
Sharing a bed? Yeah.
No, I wish. Maybe, I don't know.
No, but that is fun. Anyway, I'm sorry. So, and then, but more topically, also I've like tried to watch Gallipoli like 3 times in the past week and a half, and then I keep like having to go do something else, so I don't have time to watch the movie. So hopefully I'll get to that eventually, and I'll be able to talk about it next time. Cool. Because I've never seen it. But I went and saw Birds of Prey.
Yay.
Hell yeah.
Which I had a delightful time at. I thought it was really fun. It looked fantastic. I wished that the movie had it had a lot of really, really, really interesting and well-drawn characters, and I thought that I wished that the movie had been more character-driven and less plot-driven, because I didn't really care that much about the plot. I kind of just wanted to watch a bunch of high-energy, zany people play off of each other in, like, a satisfying way. And there was kind of not quite as much of that as I would have liked. And also, I don't know. I think I kind of had beef with it, which is, I'm not asserting that queer subtext is bad, because I think it's great, and I think the idea that, like, subtext is automatically, like, worthless is just, like, weird and annoying, and also, like, who amongst us has always had, like, a clear-cut and well-articulated relationship with their gender and or sexual orientation, like...
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like the unintelligibility of queerness is like the whole deal. What are you talking about? Anyway, but it's also frustrating when I feel like I am seeing a creative team who went absolutely every single inch as far as the studio would let them go and couldn't go any further.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of moments that I felt like watching. I felt like watching this movie where I almost felt like I could see them, like, having an argument with whoever owns DC and then, like, getting shouted down.
Are you talking about with the villains or with, with, like, Ian McGregor and Chris Messina's character, or with Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey?
Both of them.
Both of them? Okay.
Yes.
I could have sworn that Harley Quinn is, like, already canonically in a queer kind of relationship with Poison Ivy in the comics.
She is,
and she's canonically bisexual, and there is a very brief thing at the beginning where she is narrating the story, and she is visualizing her dating history pre-Joker, which was disappointing, as like a series of slot machine pulls. And it'll be like, it's like a generic male, like, head and shoulders kind of drawing figure, something, heartbreak, pull again, generic male one, something, heartbreak, pull again, generic female one, something, heartbreak. And so the idea is that there's this visual identifier that she has had previous relationships with women. But like there's a very specific moment, and I think if you go see it, you will know it immediately when you see it. That's between her and Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress,
right?
Where if one of them was a dude, they would have kissed. And you can feel, and like, I don't care if I'm reading something into this. This was just me sitting in theater feeling like I could see the two of them straining towards one another, trying to like, knowing that knowing that if they give in to the character impulse and kiss, the take will get thrown out. You know, it's
that's
like
frustrating.
They should have pulled a Star Trek.
You can see it almost happening. But I feel like I'm sure there were so many battles that got fought to get Birds of Prey made the way that it was, and that probably was just one of the ones that they weren't going to win. So I have no idea how much they did or didn't fight it. And then with Ewan McGregor and Chris Messina as characters, like, that's another one where it was like, look, I genuinely enjoy queer-coded villains. I grew up on queer-coded villains. I understand why it's problematic, but that doesn't mean that I don't fucking love them.
Amen.
This one was also a little bit like, I almost would have hated it less if he just had been gay. Instead of being a cartoonishly terrible person who also had every single marker of a very specific type of upper middle class, very privileged white gay man that you could think of, except for actually saying it. It was like, everybody knows. And I was like, man, like, if you had just made him gay, it would have made this less gross somehow. Instead of having all of these things where everybody knows but you can't say it, then they feel like they're feeding into all of the things that indicate him being a terrible person, instead of those just being two things that he is, neither of which, like, caused the other.
Right.
I don't know. So yeah, that's my fucking 2 cents on... I had a great time at Birds of Prey, but it was, frankly, frustrating to watch from a gay perspective. And I don't usually say that because, you know, I grew up as part of the generation where we all did, where there wasn't shit. You know? There wasn't shit. There was Bupkis. And, like, fucking... You know, it's like, it's 2020, man. Like,
put Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn in a movie together, you cowards.
Just cast Poison Ivy and let the two of them make out. Anyway, whatever. I also don't really care about DC superhero films, so I saw a trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. Chris Pine's back. Don't know why. Don't care. Looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. That trailer was cut. No, watch the trailer because it is cut so incredibly well. It is one of the best cut trailers I've seen in the last 5 years.
Dope.
Yeah, anyway, so that's me.
It is before I switch into what I've seen, it is unfathomable to me that a bisexual woman would be in a relationship long-term with the fucking Joker. Anyway. We have
that's none of my business.
But that's none of my business. What have I seen? I rewatched Knives Out with my parents. They hadn't seen it before. We watched that last week. I rewatched again, first time for my parents, Before Midnight, which is the final film in the Before trilogy, which I got on Criterion. And then, so I watched for the first time, I watched Ad Astra, which is the Brad Pitt science fiction vehicle that came out this year.
Yeah. How was that?
I really liked it.
Right.
I did have to, and this is the same thing goes for The Irishman, which I watched in one day, and didn't fall asleep during.
As opposed to watching in 3.
Yeah, you know. And some people have done. And for both of them, I'm like, I did have to. So Ad Astra can be very slow. It's very beautiful to look at, and I think that Brad Pitt's performance in it is really good, and actually I prefer it to the one that he won the Oscar for this year. Oh,
I fucking
You'll have
forgot that he won an Oscar this year, like, already.
We have to talk about that briefly. I will talk about that briefly.
Okay.
Just briefly. And then, but no, he's really good in it, but it is slow, so I did have to kind of have my phone out, unfortunately, to have like a mindless idle game going on in the background while I watched it, but so, that was just to keep me awake and to keep me from, like, dying. I get really sleepy, like, all day, all the time, and it's really frustrating because I don't want to be napping constantly, so,
Look, sleepy bitch disease is real.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a sleepy bitch disease awareness podcast.
Thank you. So I really liked it. It was really sad.
Nice.
It was very sad and
I like sad
melancholy.
shit.
A lot of father and son sad things, which yeah. And I also really liked The Irishman, quite honestly.
Oh.
And yeah, not much to say about that since I thought it was good. I
have a funny thing about The Irishman really fast.
Yeah.
So it's based on a book that's called like something about painting houses, right?
I heard you paint houses.
I heard you paint houses. For some reason, my brain keeps replacing the phrase "I heard you paint houses" with the title of the film "They Shoot Horses, Don't They?"
I heard you shoot horses.
And so it just ends up being things like "I heard you shoot horses," or like one time it almost came out as "They paint horses, don't they?"
I like that. They paint horses, don't they?
Yeah,
I think so. They call them
so.
painted horses.
I might watch that movie. I will probably watch The Irishman eventually, but there's a decent chance that the entire time I will just be thinking of weird riffs on the title of "They Shoot Horses, Don't They?" for no reason.
And then I also this morning actually watched Paris, Texas. I am shooting a movie and a music video with a director in town later this month. And I'm going to, for the reference for the music video, he texted me and was like, "Hey, have you seen Paris, Texas?" And I hadn't, even though I wanted to. And he said, just like, here's my Criterion channel password. Just go into and watch Paris, Texas, just like the first 10-15 minutes to see Harry Dean Stanton's performance in that, to get an idea of kind of like, that's kind of how I'm envisioning this thing for your character in this music video. So I was like, cool, dope. I'm going to finish it because I can't stop a movie 15 minutes in, you madman. But it was very great for them to do that. So I watched that this morning and I really loved it. And Harry Dean Stanton was a maestro, and I just fucking butchered that word there. And I cried quite a bit during it. It really hurt me a lot, but it was a very good movie. So that's that. The Oscars happened in between me last being on this podcast, I guess. And it was actually kind of better than we had hoped for in some ways, and unsurprising in others. It was notable for me because I did the ballot, as we do every year at our particular Oscar party, along with the themed foods, and I got 22 out of 24 predictions correct.
Damn!
And won a bottle of champagne for it, so thank you to all of the movie podcasts that I listened to the past year that gave me a good idea of how the wind was blowing, I guess. So that was fun. Bong Joon-ho won 3 major awards for Parasite, and it was really great to see that happen.
He won 4.
For picture, director, screenplay,
and best international film.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
Yeah, because the big deal was that he personally won 4 Oscars, which is the tying with Walt fucking Disney, who was the only other person to win 4 Oscars individually, and he won them for 4 different movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
Sorry, I just saw some. I realized that I apologize, scrolling Twitter as we record this. I'm listening, I promise, but I forgot that it's Critical Role night, and I just scrolled past a bunch of people being extremely horny on Maine. So, Crit Role fandom, if you're out there, I support you.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good-ish night. There are some predictable things about that. I realized before, as we were recording this, that I never tweeted out all of the awards for the Helena Awards and film 2019. So
yes,
that will happen later if we like, or I can, talk about them on a different episode, whatever. But I they're always in flux. They're never complete because I still haven't seen as much as I would like to. But they out there and they're very good actually. And I like my awards a lot, and everybody's a winner. And that's all I have to say about that. Should we talk about the episode topic?
Yes, we are. We're almost half an hour into the episode. So we are finally. I think we've talked about doing this a few times. We're going to talk about movie musicals. And boy, all three of us come from a variety of theater backgrounds. So you know that we got a lot to say about musicals in general, and then you combine, like, movies into it, and it's like, whew, boy, a lot going on.
What happening?
I think we should say, first and foremost, all of us like musicals. We like them. They're fun, and we enjoy them.
Yeah.
So that's the perspective that we are coming into this from.
Yeah. I'm not interested in musicals liked by people who don't like musicals. I've always gotten that question before, like, first of all, and this is like no shade to you if you don't like musicals and you're listening to this, although a little bit of shade, and it's fine. But
we come from different worlds.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that's
but
true.
like it's always constantly, it's fascinating to me how when you meet somebody, the fact that they don't like musicals is like one of the first 5 things that you learn about them. It's never something that like you find out like later on in the relationship, but always like, hi, my name is John and I hate musicals and I have a cat named Brosif. I don't know.
But I was about to say, it's almost like people who don't like Cats. Like, not Cats the musical, like Cats the domesticated animal.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's one of the first things you learn about people, like, a lot of people, and it's really odd to me when, like, a like, dislike of something, which has no, like, moral value attached to it, just becomes, like, a big part of, like, a defining part of your personality. Also, I'm just gonna apologize now, my Wi-Fi router is fucked, and it means that, like, I can't get a Wi-Fi signal in the whole downstairs of my apartment now, and my roommate needs to make dinner, like, and we have an open plan upstairs, so y'all are just gonna have to deal with the background noise of my beloved roommate Kevin making dinner. Sorry.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is, like, I remember you always hear a lot when people talk about musicals that like that when there's a musical that people who don't like musicals do like, they always make a way to like, that's the way to sell this show. It's like, I don't even like musicals and I like this thing, and it's like, I don't care about it then because I'm not interested in the things that you like.
No, like,
but
we have completely, me and a person who doesn't like musicals want different things out of that art experience. And so it's like, man, your assessment of this is just not, you're playing by different rules. Like, I'm over here playing fucking regular football and you're playing Australian rules football. And we're not really going to get a whole lot out of trying to argue about it. Because we're playing different games. And that's the story of how I stopped arguing with people who don't like musicals and just went, all right, well, cool, I'm gonna go over here and enjoy musicals.
Helena, what was that really phenomenal thing that you pulled up the other day that was about, like...
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was just thinking about it. It is ostensibly a quote from the filmmaker Federico Fellini. It could be I've seen it attributed to him several times, but I've never actually seen the source where it comes from. So it's entirely possible that this is just some random person online who's just like, Federico Fellini said this. But regardless of that, I still agree with it. It came, and I'm actually really glad that I saw this when I did, because I've been going through another one of my Sondheim phases where I'm just like constantly listening to him and like this 24/7, and I'm always having to share that with my parents, and my parents don't like Sondheim very much, and I'm always like, I can change you, and I can't change them because they're not interested. And then this post came up on my Tumblr where someone had strung together these Federico Fellini quotes, where he said, ostensibly, "I don't like the idea of understanding a film. I don't believe that rational understanding is an essential element in the reception of any work of art. Either a film has something to say to you, or it hasn't. If you are moved by it, you don't need it explained to you. If not, no explanation can make you be moved by it." Which is like, I've been thinking about that literally every hour since I saw that. Just like, it's so fucking true. Because I always have tried to rationalize a lot of times, like, why something speaks to me personally, and then, but I can't, like, use words sometime to do that. Mm-hmm. This is not a post saying, like, oh, we shouldn't discuss art. It's not that. It's like,
no,
you know, there's no point at which you saying, how can you not like this particular composer, artist, filmmaker, its movie, etc., is going to convince another person that they should feel the same way about it as you do, or that they can see the same, get the same merit out of it as you can, because either people are going to be moved by it and get something out of it, or they're not. And yeah. So I found that reassuring.
Yeah, I think it's really reassuring. It's really like, you know, it's very freeing, because there's a point at which you can kind of just look at somebody who's like, because people do, and especially people who are, you know, parts of certain categories in society that are constantly pressed to, like, justify why they care about stuff.
Yeah.
For all of us who have been teenage girls, holy shit. The entire experience of being a teenage girl is just, how the fuck could you like this thing that you like, and then you desperately try to justify it and defend it and all of this stuff, and it's like, man, you know, nothing about this explanation is going to actually answer the question you are asking, because that is, the question you're asking is not really, one, like, that's not really the question you're asking, and two, like, sometimes you just feel a thing, or like what Maddie talked about last episode, where, like, there are movies where you're like, is this objectively good? Nah, but it made me have an emotional experience, and it just did. And like,
that has value and merit.
Yeah, that has value on its own merits.
Yeah. This applies to things like Sondheim, and it also applies to things like fucking Jupiter Ascending. My good
that's right.
people.
I sorry if I can briefly.
No, please
go for it.
I just finished writing the first draft of a personal essay for a zine that I have a deadline for on March 1st. That was literally a page and a half about why I give a shit about wrestling. Professional wrestling.
All right.
And while I was writing, I had this moment of like, God, it's so hard to explain why I give a shit about this thing to somebody who just really doesn't give a shit about this thing. And there's absolutely no way for me to be like, listen, like, give a shit. And not that I ever would, but that it just like, that just really struck me. It's like, that's something that's kind of been like kicking around in my brain a lot recently. And specific with musicals, my stepmom is not really a big fan of musicals. She never has been. It's changing a little bit, weirdly enough, with Cats, which I'll go into in a second. She doesn't like. We'll never know. Okay. Cats the stage musical, if it helps.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, neither have I. So I think it's some like underground thing. Anyway, she doesn't like them because she doesn't understand why they start singing. And my dad and I, who are both theater people, have tried to kind of explain the idea for years, and it got to the point, I mean, even from the get-go, we were just like, but you don't have to like them. Like, that doesn't, we don't care about you less because you don't like musicals. We obviously do very much, but, like, you don't have to understand them. That's okay. Which is shit I think that don't get said enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's only so many times you can fight that argument, because that is like the most classic argument from I think mostly from non-theater people, I would say. It's just like, man, I don't know what to tell you. They get emotional and then they have to sing about it. That's the whole conceit. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, that is the
once you can no longer express what you are feeling in dialogue, you start singing. And that's just is like, that is the basic conceit. And if you are gonna buy a ticket to that, like, okay,
that this is not for you.
That's fine, but stop standing in the lobby trying to tell me that I shouldn't buy a ticket to it because I already bought one and I just want to get to my seat.
Yeah. Well, where this really becomes an issue for me is, and I can't cite very specific examples of this, but it's when that the opinion of people who don't like musicals becomes more important to the creation of musicals and the adaptations of them, so that you have musicals that are less interested in the musical as a conceit and want to try and make it so that they're profiting off of the musical's like name, but are not catering to what made it popular on stage and are eschewing the tradition of the musical itself. Not that you have to, like, tradition's not quite the right word for it, but you know, whatever the hell was going on with the Les Mis adaptation, you know, it's like it's...
How did I know you were talking about the Les Mis? I was like nodding along, being like,
like,
you're talking
Les
about
Mis
the
in the back of your
fucking
head.
Les Mis adaptation.
I was thinking about Into the Woods.
Also, Into the Woods.
Also Into the Woods,
which I didn't see, and I never will.
You
Yes,
never will,
same.
because it's it cuts two of my favorite songs.
Helena did that for us, so we don't have to.
I saw it, and there are people out there who are like, "This is a good show," and I'm like, I will die before I hear that sentence again. No, the agony sequence is fun. I think a lot of the movie is of Into the Woods is tremendously miscast, and is mostly about getting star power. Like, what the fuck is Johnny Depp doing there?
Well, what the fuck was Johnny Depp doing in Sweeney Todd either?
Yeah.
This is true.
I have an entire cattle ranching operation full of beef with that choice.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Didn't they cut the Agony Reprise from the movie musical?
They did.
Which
they also
kind of defeats the purpose of the...
Yeah.
They were like, oh man, like, I feel like from what I've heard
we
about
only
the
need
Into
to
the
do
Woods
this one
adaptation
once.
is like, you know, they kind of went, well, we can have the singing or we can have the complexity, but just people won't be able to handle both. And if we have the singing, we really just gotta, like, make this as dumb as possible. And then they just systematically excised everything that made it complicated.
The fact that they cut No More.
Don't even.
Oh my god! I forgot that they cut No More.
Is
Monsters,
possibly
monsters.
the worst thing that I have ever had to experience. And actually, it's bad. It's actually worse than just simply cutting it. Like, from what I hear, I actually have not seen the adaptation of A Little Night Music, but I know that they cut.
Oh god, I forgot they even did one.
They did one pretty shortly after, like, it was still in the 70s because it was such a hit, and they did a adaptation of that with a lot of the cast, or not a lot of the cast, but one or two actors, and they cut the song The Miller's Son from Act 2, which is one of my favorite songs from the show.
Oh,
and like,
I almost started singing it, and I can't because that would be a copyright violation.
I
mean, I get like 6 seconds, right? I shall marry the Millers.
There you go.
I love that song.
Yeah, I think we're good.
It's so good. No, it's like it's great. Like, a lot of the songs in that show, I can see more the justification for cutting it, but you do that character a disservice, and it's also a great song. But the idea of cutting No More, not just excising it completely, but hinting at it. James Corden plays the baker in that movie, which is like, okay, fine. And he's like walking through the woods after he's like said, "No, I shall not do anything to help you," or whatever. I can't remember how it happens. And he, like, his father kind of like appears in the woods or something and tells him to go back. I can't remember what it is, but it's like, we know that what should be in this space is the emotional, not climax, but perhaps lomax, I don't know, of this musical. And we don't have time because we have to get to No One Is Alone, which is the more well-known song that everybody likes. So we're gonna cut this number. And no, look, he's back! The baker's back! He came back! And
No More is like a 2-minute song. Is the other part? Sorry, I just interrupted you.
Song.
I'm just so fucking
I
about it.
was done. It's such a quick song, and it's such a like No One Is Alone is very lovely. I don't have any beef with No One Is Alone. It's just like there's those two numbers are like come right. It comes right after.
They go together,
but they go together. Yeah,
you
exactly.
Lose so much from No One Is Alone without the emotional turning point that is No More.
Yeah,
and you lose the context of the baker coming, like, grappling with the terms of, like, I am not like my father, and you know, I have to let go of that. And then it comes back in No More when they're singing, like,
or No One Is Alone.
Your parents aren't here.
Yeah.
And you have to figure stuff out on your own. But, like, that...
Yeah. It's so essential to the themes of the show.
Sounds.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good decision.
I would argue it's a very bad decision.
It's a very bad decision, and it continues to baffle me. Anyway, it's frustrating for me because I obviously, as you could probably tell, I really love Sondheim. He's my favorite composer in musical theater, and
It's my uncle.
That's my uncle. He, you know, I've been so frequently disappointed by adaptations of his shows, just because I think it's kind of like, maybe it's kind of like adaptations of Hamlet and adaptations of Angels in America, where it's like, I'm never going to be fully 100% satisfied by any adaptation of this that's not the recording of the original Broadway cast or something, so maybe I should just give up now and not worry about it. But it's also like, I feel like they could do better at it. Ezra, you made a really good point about the textual nature of it down here.
Oh,
which I think is
This
true.
is my thing with Sondheim on screen, is that, and it is in many ways also my thing with Shakespeare on screen, because one of the things about film is that one of the big things you can do with film is tell a story without needing dialogue. Because you have a camera, and you have so much more ability to manipulate the visuals than you do on stage. And on stage, like, there's stuff you can do without dialogue, but you can't have it is highly, highly unusual and frankly pretty wacky to have, like, long stretches on stage that don't have any dialogue. Everything is textual, and especially with Sondheim, everything is textual, or it's in the music.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and much like Shakespeare, everything is textual, because you needed to be able to get the full picture if all you could do was hear it. And I feel like Sondheim is the same way. There are some Sondheim shows where the book is much more important than others. There are Sondheim shows where the book is just better than it is in other shows. But even then, like, the text of the show is the whole show. And one of the things that happens when you put it on screen is that the idea of having a movie where there is someone either talking or singing for every single minute of the damn thing is just not really how movies get made. That's just not really how film as a medium happens. And so a lot of the time.
Well, and I was thinking, like, at least adaptation, the Sweeney Todd adaptation. So Sweeney Todd is one of those musicals like Les Mis that's, like, not quite like Les Mis, where a lot of it is score, a lot of it is...
Yeah, it is almost entirely sung through.
Yeah, and not quite to the extent that Les Mis is, but...
No, Les Mis is a rock opera.
Yeah, it's true.
Literally, Les Mis is, and the farther you get back in, like, previous iterations of Les Mis, it is increasingly, like, the current orchestrations of Les Mis have done a lot to distance that musical from its origins as a rock opera. There used to be electric fucking guitars.
Hell,
and
yes.
You know what? Potentially controversial opinion, it was better.
I'm right. I am willing to believe. I have not heard the recordings with electric guitars, but I am absolutely willing to believe you. I think that the adaptation of... Now, I don't remember it as well, because I've only seen it once, because that was all I could stomach. The adaptation of Les Mis might have done this. The one thing that Sweeney Todd at least didn't do, possibly because the book was better than the book of, like, say, Rent. The adaptation of Rent, which I have unfortunately seen many times, just took the stuff that was sung through, a lot of the stuff that was sung through in the musical, and just turned it into, oh, they're just saying this as dialogue, and it sounds so bad.
It's such a fucking terrible choice. If we're gonna talk about Rent for a second,
oh boy,
I'm not gonna say very much about Rent because there's been a lot of things said about Rent.
Yeah.
So it's really funny, we're making a list, and under the flawed but I like him anyway, the last thing is me going, Rent, I gotta talk about fucking Rent. Because so, like, personal context, I've been a musical theater enthusiast since probably about 2003, when I was 12. Maybe like 11 or 12. And I went head first. I got into, like, the obscure shit. I prided myself on, I was a fucking elitist about musical theater nerdery, like, embarrassing or whatever. But I remember very distinctly that Rent, the film, was one of the very first movies that I was ever dropped off to see without my parents.
Man.
And it was one of the very first on-screen depictions of a same-gender relationship I had ever seen.
Oh, right, yeah.
In my whole life. And the other important thing is that I didn't grow up with any queer adults. My parents are friends with 0 same-gender couples. It just is the way their friend group shook out. I had never so much as, I was not aware of a single queer adult in my whole life, except for maybe having a vague idea about some of my camp counselors at Girl Scout camp. But they never said anything. Probably they weren't allowed to. And so Rent was a revelation for me, because there were all of these things that I sort of vaguely understood in the abstract, but I didn't have any way of understanding that people of the same gender could love each other to the extent that people of the quote-unquote opposite gender did. And so the intensity of the love that produced the intensity of the grief that Collins feels for Angel. I'm not getting into gender in that musical. I'm just not gonna fucking do it. It's a huge problem. Everything about that musical is a huge problem, but it was a queer relationship. It read as a queer relationship to me at the time. And the idea that you could love somebody that much that their death could destroy you like that was just open. Like, I had never really, I remember that I was like, I had never really considered that a love like that could exist between two people of the same-ish gender at all. Yeah, and so, like, and part of it, the part of the what conveyed, like, you could not have conveyed the same intensity of emotion, I don't think, without the music. And so it was this twin thing of, like, I already loved musical theater, but this was something completely different than anything else I had ever really even understood the existence of in my whole life. Yeah. So, like, objectively Rent is garbage, but, like, I'm getting choked up thinking about the first time I saw that movie 15 or 16 years ago. Just talking about it now, like, that's how much of an impact it had on me.
Yeah. I think that is not an uncommon experience for a lot of queer folks.
Yeah.
To have that be, if not a first, then kind of on the cusp of an early experience that was had in an entirely personal way. And me, I'll discourse about Rent till the fucking cows come home. I got a lot to say about it. But I listened to Goodbye Love, and it's still that the several beats in that song just bring me to tears. Or the round of fucking, oh my god, what is it?
Will I Lose My Dignity?
Yes.
Yeah. Will I?
Will
yeah.
someone...
And the reprise of what's the song that Collins and Angel sing? That's
Oh,
Reprise.
I'll cover
Yeah.
you.
I'll cover you.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
I'll cover you Reprise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think that's a perfect example of, well, why do they sing? And it's like, well, why does anyone sing? Why does anyone sing at all? Because the enormity of your emotions is so great that you have no other choice but to put it to song, and hope that someone hears you.
Yeah.
And
it's
fucking cry,
Rent
Matthew.
does that. Yeah.
And it's something that, like, sometimes it's those things that can't be expressed in simple plain dialogue. It's something that feels abstract. That's more sometimes, when I'm thinking specifically about a lot of the stuff that Sondheim writes, that's very much the internal expressed externally, that's existential, and like The Miller's Son, which is like not even a plot thing of like, here's what's happening. It's like, here's my future laid out ahead of me. Here's
a
10 different futures that I can see, and
Yeah.
I can see them all right now as I lie here, and I don't know what's going to happen. And
Yeah,
that's expressed in just dialogue, that wouldn't necessarily be anything compelling theatrically. I mean, you could find a way to make it work, I'm sure, but it's like, it's the idea of it not just expressed in song, but insistently with Sondheim and expressed in rhyme, which is like the purest expression often in Shakespeare of like emotional, heightened emotional states, that like sometimes that is the way that stuff needs to be expressed. And I think that, you know, there's a skepticism towards that in a lot of contemporary, or, you know, more quote unquote realistic media, I guess. But I think there's something really pure and heartening about it. I don't know.
I think there's something to be said. We talk about this a lot on the podcast, about the fear a lot of people have, either when viewing media or critiquing media, of emotion without cynicism, of just and what is the musical if not several hours? Several is an exaggeration, but multiple hours of emotion heightened to the point of song without cynicism.
Yeah. Not without irony, but,
No,
but without cynicism.
But
yeah.
in the idea of like, this is what we are doing. And, you know, there are musicals that poke fun at that. There are musicals that are cynical, and I personally am not usually a big fan of them, because I feel like that's such a...
Well, those are usually the musicals for the people who don't like musicals. Sometimes.
Yeah, it always feels so, bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always, I don't know, it doesn't feel enjoyable.
It's not like you can't make that work, because cynical and bitter are two adjectives that I would very, very strongly apply to Cabaret.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Oh, and that makes that work so well. But other than, sorry, that was just like, I got a flash of this really...
I was gonna say, you just got shivers.
I did. I got a very specific flash of Cabaret, which I just like love. So
yeah.
Yes, I cannot comment on Cabaret because I still have not listened to it or seen it or anything, which is, I know is a shame, and I know that I really would like to.
Yeah, I think that you'll like it.
I believe so too. We have not hit any of the points on our list, but we have. The three of us.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
We've hit some of them. Sometimes we just, I don't know. This is our
I didn't
podcast,
need to hit any of the points anyway, to be fair. I was just
Well,
like, wow.
I mean,
do
we want to talk about the stuff that we were talking about before the episode started that made us very passionate?
I would like to mention it, but
yeah, you know
go
what
ahead.
I think I might like to do?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to just come back for a part 2 next time and talk about specific musicals and like do some more of this nitty-gritty stuff that we discussed, that we have this whole Google Doc of and we're using very little of, and this is kind of like, this is our like big feels about musicals episode, and then we have the like, let's talk about individual films and like musicals that we would really love to see on screen, and musicals that like, if somebody tries to put this on screen, we will fight them.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We can talk about musical
idea.
episodes of TV shows, which is a whole section on here that like we are not even like, we really don't even need to get into
we
right
don't
now.
even have the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
that's
should,
a great
and like
idea.
we could talk
Very
about
good
like,
idea.
none of us are Bollywood enthusiasts, but we should bring it up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we should do a part 2 next time. So
Yeah,
we will
and
come
this
back
is
for
our
more.
special episode anyway, so I think
Yeah,
this is part of it is.
This is our anniversary episode. I think it's fine to just like, kind of excavate our emotional innards onto
With that
the
permission,
airwaves.
Maddie, do you want to fucking go for it and lead us off?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to.
Kick us
So,
off.
for those of you playing along at home,
Play along at home.
yeah, play in the space with me. Imagine
Ow.
Hamilton, the movie extravaganza, the fucking
Running.
the movie event. I'm looking it up live on air. I am looking up when this bullshit is coming out. It's so stupid. This is so stupid. 2021, October 15th, 2021.
Eat my whole ass.
Wikipedia. The film is a recording of Miranda's Broadway musical of the same name. This is not a movie. It's a stage recording. And you know what? I love stage recordings, as you will find out very shortly. I am wholeheartedly about stage recordings. I think there should be more of them.
Yeah, I've watched the Newsies broadcast like way more times than I care to admit in public.
Yeah, the Newsies broadcast fucking rules.
It whips.
It whips. I think there should be more stage recordings. I think there should be less movie adaptations and more stage recordings. Years ago, when Hamilton was like really in its peak, not that people don't still like it, obviously, because some people were like, Hamilton movie, and my fucking timeline exploded, and I was like, why? Why do I have to hear this? The Hamilton people, the fandom, as it were, were begging for a stage recording. Everybody was like, please, this musical the tickets are hard to get, it's expensive, people can't get to New York, this is a cultural phenomenon, please release a stage recording, because you guys are so actively against bootleggers, it's nobody can get a hold of this besides just listening to the album, and people want to see it, because a huge part of this show is the set.
Mm-hmm.
And
the choreography.
And the choreography, and the double casting, and like the shit that is visually important. Mm-hmm. And Lin-Manuel Miranda looked down and said no, and we were like, okay, I guess.
Yeah,
I just basically was
also,
like,
this is the one thing that I do want to interject is, and I cannot find a specific source for this, but I remember it very clearly. And so, look, if this is libel or whatever, fuck off, I don't care. Sue me, I got shit. What are you gonna take? We don't make any money off of this podcast. I remember very clearly that the big thing was, so there as soon as there was a high quality bootleg of Hamilton going around, and the cast found out about it, and I believe this came directly from Lin-Manuel Miranda, was them saying, please respect the actors, please respect all of the people who work on the show, don't watch the bootleg, because once the original cast has moved on, we want to put it out. We want to either put it out in theaters or put it out on DVD. They specifically said, wait until the original cast has left, and then we are going to make this available to you through legitimate channels, so don't watch the bootleg, wait. And it never materialized.
unless this is that.
And or it is, in which case it's going to be in 2021. Like, ship sailed, my guy.
I mean, that's about the 2021. That's
and it's a re-record. Is the other thing.
The musical premiered in 2015 on Broadway. On Broadway, that's 6 years after.
Which it was at the public before that.
That's about right for like when the stage recording for like the original Into the Woods or something was recorded or something like that. The timeline wise, but like still, that's an awfully long time to wait for a very big show that people are demanding you give them access to. Please, it would be so great for us to support you and support your
so
work.
Many people who want to give you their money,
especially because they are billing it as like this is a special like movie event. They are bringing the original cast back to re-record it. This is something that could have been done years ago.
Yep.
And they're repackaging it
Yep.
to put in theaters as like a big fucking event.
Yep.
And for what? It feels like a slap in the face. Even as someone who, like, I like the music of Hamilton, I think the drama around Hamilton just got so complicated for me. I think there's a pretty serious discussion to be had about
Sure.
Hamilton and politics
absolutely.
and etc.
That's one of those. I did my discourse 12 years of it in Azkaban.
In Azkaban, yes.
Oh my god, it's the reason I left. It's the reason I left Tumblr.
Yeah,
oh wow,
it's
damn,
like,
that's
yeah,
wow, yeah.
It got
it's
bad,
awful.
folks.
It was It feels like a slap in the face to the theater community. As someone who, Lin-Manuel Miranda is a theater person. He grew up, and I think this is a crucial part that we talked about, is he grew up in New York as a New York Broadway kid.
Yeah.
Like going to see Broadway. And for him, it seems like he sees a lot of this stuff as like, you know, he doesn't think about accessibility for people who don't live in New York.
Yeah, he's one of those people who is a native New Yorker for whom the world ends at, I don't even know what street it is because I don't know New York geography because I don't fucking live there. Stop acting like I should know it. I live in the Seattle area. Eat shit.
And to be fair, he has made... parts of his work are very much about the fact that he is extremely local and has difficulty moving away from that. But he is also now, like, wicked famous.
Yeah.
And is in charge of, you know, some really big pieces of art, which it's not accessible. And theater is, as an art, extremely inaccessible, and that is something that as theater people we discuss and struggle with, is how do we make it accessible? And the answer is easier than you think. It's usually just make it cheaper. But you know, he's not helping. This is not helping.
No,
this
it's not.
This is looking at the people who years ago were like, we literally just want like 1 or 2 cameras in the auditorium, and you record it, and you slap together, probably with little to no editing, and just put it on DVD, and we'll buy it. That's all we want. Mm-hmm. They could have made something very, like, medium quality with relatively little effort. Not that I'm saying the editing and shit is not hard, or, like, cinematography is not hard. I know that it's hard. I'm just saying it would have been easier than what they're doing now, and they could have had it out years ago.
At the time, I wasn't even that big a Hamilton fan, and I would have paid real, honest-to-God human money for literally a fixed camera, like, archival footage recording. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because it would have been better seats than I could have gotten if I went to New York.
The Globe TV makes, productions of Shakespearean shows. This is a bad sentence, Shakespearean shows. Anyway, the Globe makes productions available on their website, Globe TV, for it's like £7.99 to buy it. It's like $5.99 to rent it. So it's about $7 to rent recorded versions of these like major productions from these like world-class actors. That's the kind of shit that we're talking about. National Theatre Live is kind of more expensive, but it also is like available around the globe. You can pay to watch these shows that are quite good, usually, in theaters.
They're from the National Theatre.
They're from the fucking National Theatre. I've seen many of them. They're quite good.
They're usually pretty good. I've seen a bunch of them too.
Why doesn't New York, why does the establishment and Broadway, I guess it's just like a very weird way to say that, the establishment, but you know what I mean? Like producers in Broadway not interested in finding a way to make that accessible, because I will talk about my Angels in America story now, which is
Yes.
I told y'all about this before. I went to New York in 2018. I structured my trip around the New York transfer of the National Theatre production of Angels in America, which is a revival, obviously, with Andrew Garfield and Nathan Lane and Nathan Stewart Jarrett, multiple other actors. I went to go see it in New York, so I was like, I gotta fucking see this show live. Yeah. I bought my tickets ahead of time, and I bought them for the mezzanine in the Neil Simon Theater, thinking like a fool that meant I'm close. I'm a dumbass. It was the second from the last row of the theater, and I couldn't see shit. I could hear everything just fine, but I went to see both parts in one day, and for the part one, I was like, oh, this is not going to work, 'cause I can't see anything, and I really want to be able to see it. That's the whole reason that I'm here. And I debated my entire dinner break in between shows of like, they have the TKTS booth in Times Square. I can go there and see if they have discount tickets available for part 2, but that's spending more money, and I don't want to spend money, and I'm really like paranoid about that. But I went and I did it, and I spent an extra $90 on a ticket in the orchestra section for part 2, which was the right decision for me at that moment, but not everybody would be in a position to make that decision. And while I was standing in line, the year that I was there, it was May 2018. It was also the season that Cursed Child had also transferred from London to New York.
Jamie Parker, we love you.
Jamie Parker was still in that production. He was nominated. This podcast loves Jamie Parker. And there was a woman in line behind me when we were in line for part 2 who was talking to somebody on the phone about the tickets that this kid, her nephew or her son or whomever, I don't know, who had to come and see the Cursed Child with her now because she'd spent $1,000 on 2 tickets to see A Cursed Child. And because she'd now spent that much money on it, there's no way that like she's gonna let those tickets go to waste or something. And I was like, I agonized about spending $90 extra to fucking be able to see with my own 2 eyes a show that I have already bought tickets to, and you're spending $1,000 on fucking Cursed Child, which is, I'm sorry, I love Jamie Parker. I've heard the show is very good.
Not Angels in America.
Not a good play. It's a very bad script, but
it is objectively fucking terrible.
It's
was just really good in it because Jamie Parker has
a great actor.
Ability to elevate text.
Yeah. He can do anything, and I believe in him, and I'm sure he was wonderful. I would not see that production if I was not able to sit in a row where I could see the whites of his eyes.
I know, right? Yeah.
I would see that. I would be seeing that entirely for him. I have no shame in it.
I had this fantasy of going to New York, seeing something else, and then stage dooring Cursed Child to just be like, "Hey, will you sign my copy of Henry V or possibly the History Boys?"
Gosh, you're valid. So yeah, it's just like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. That people. That's how much a ticket costs to see anything. She bought 2 tickets. That's like $500 per ticket. That's insane to me. And people just cannot afford. I mean, we were talking about earlier, like, let alone the cost of traveling to New York and you know, and everything.
Staying in New York and staying in New York, eating in New York. Like,
I mean, luckily I had a connection there, and I was able, when I went there, to stay for free. So I was very lucky. But like, New York is expensive. I love it very much. I do want to live there and work there, but it's extremely ridiculous that any tickets to anything anywhere, even if it is incredible theater, should cost 3 months payment for my student loans. Like, that's absolutely nonsense.
Well, and you know, this is the other thing I think is that, and it's if you are sort of myopic about having grown up in New York, talk to one of the people who you work with who didn't grow up in New York, who now work on Broadway. Like, with bootlegs, we have 2 comments. The first of which is Maddie's, that bootlegging is a form of guerrilla theater archiving.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
They're not fucking doing it.
No, they're not fucking doing it, so we're gonna do it. And bootlegs are overwhelmingly, and I seriously know this from having been around people who have who have watched and exchanged bootlegs. I'm not admitting to anything, but I've been on the internet for a long time. They are overwhelmingly about desperation and devotion. Like, all 3 of us grew up as teenagers 3,000 miles away from Broadway and 8,000 miles, including an ocean, away from London. And, we all get that theater is transient and ephemeral. You know why? Because we're all theater artists. We know because we make theater. I am not, you know, and are we amateurs? Yeah. Does that make us not theater artists? Absolutely fucking not. Fuck off. There are tens of thousands of young people all across the world who just have an overwhelming passion for theater, and they are desperate to get their hands on absolutely anything they can. And you know what? The trade-off is not $30 for a DVD or $900 on the low end for a trip to New York City to see this show that you're obsessed with. The trade-off is between $30 for a DVD and trying to find a bootleg. Like, the vast majority of people, you're not losing out on fucking ticket sales. It's free money. You can charge a lot. People will pay it. But, you know, you can scrape together $50 for a DVD for, like, you and your two friends, that you cannot scrape together $1,000 or $1,500 to go see something in New York. And it's like, I think if you grew up in New York, like, people just are so... they don't understand how much of a, like, total and absolute impossibility that is for huge numbers of people who are incredibly passionate about theater, and they're the people who are buying all of the fucking cast recordings and shit. You know, and so there's so much demand there. There's so much demand. Like, you would make money. There has to be a way to figure this out.
Well, that's that old argument that came up a lot when people were really cracking down on Pirate Bay, or trying to crack down on Pirate Bay, where it would never work because they're the swashbucklers of the sea.
And also, sea. I think they're in the Netherlands.
Yeah. You can't... where it's like... I think actually Neil Gaiman made a statement about this once, where he was like, look, if you ask people where they first read their favorite book, how many of them actually say, oh, I bought it at a bookstore? Most of the time, your favorite book, you find it, someone's loaned it to you, a parent has given it to you, a friend has given it to you. You get it from the library, which is fucking free. And that's a lot... it's the same way for any kind of art that's being bootleg. He's like, ultimately, if people read my books and the first time they read it, they got it for free and they pirated it, they're going to come back to my work if they liked it. And they usually, what happens is they then pay for my work that comes out later. And even if they don't, they're getting it from the library, and that means that, like, there's demand for my writing, and that's a good thing for me. Like, it's a thorny issue, obviously, as an artist. People are always like, you know, for theater companies that are struggling and actors do not get paid that much. I mean, some actors do. A very, 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 very small percentage of actors get paid very well. Most actors don't. Most crew do not. So I understand people are like, how are we going to pay your artist then if you're not paying for the production? But it's like, look, this is not really the issue. The issue is not people bootlegging small productions. Like, I work with a small theater company. We've never had an issue of someone trying to film our stuff. It's big productions that can afford to spend a tiny fraction of the money they are making on a successful Broadway show that has been running for 5 years now, to make it more accessible and available to a wider audience who cannot afford to travel and see it live. It's not about taking money away from the artist. It's about people breaking, like, when people want to crack down on copyright, it's always coming from the producers, who the only thing that they are getting out of it is the money. Overwhelmingly, not always, but overwhelmingly, that's the issue going on. It's not a disrespect to the artist. It's not intended as that. It's like you said. It's devotion and desire. People want to take part in this, and that's the whole point of art. Art is nothing if it's not accessible. It's not art. And you need to make it accessible in order for it to, I don't know, for it to be for the people of the people, or whatever the fuck. But, you know, it's not a matter of denying artists their pay. And it's always the people who only have money as a stake in the game who come down the hardest on this. And it's disappointing when other artists try and kind of make it about, like, I don't know, you just don't want artists to get paid for this. I guess.
And it's like, no, that's not the point.
Yeah. It's really not the point. Like,
and the other part is, like, if you care so much about artists getting paid, as we all do, very much care about artists getting paid, why are you not also pushing for these stage recordings?
Because that's money. You're right.
This is literally a shut up and take my money situation.
This is a situation that has a solution, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
It is baffling to me. It is beyond my comprehension, and I don't the fuck shit
inaccessibility. Yes,
thank you. God, I'm too bad. It's killing theater.
Yeah,
it's killing it, and that is agonizing to me because it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah.
If you would just get off your asses, look around you, and realize that people want to be there with you, and you are closing the door in their faces, you know?
You're holding the door shut and then wondering why there aren't more people in the room.
Trying to break down the door.
Yeah. And to talk about, you know, people living in New York, too, and not to get a little bit elitist about it, but I have been reading Finishing the Hat, so it has been seeping into me a little bit. You know, if you make shows, there's a lot of people even living in New York can't afford to see Broadway shows. And a lot of the people who can afford to go see it are people who are tourists and who are willing to drop however much fucking money to go see a Broadway show because that's what you do when you're in New York for some people.
Because that's the experience. It's not...
Yes, and I think that's gotten to the point where theater is sometimes produced with an intent or a preference towards making shows that can draw out large audiences the way that, I mean, all major art forms have been doing for a long time, the way that film is struggling with right now, where people don't want to take risks and they don't want to spend money on things that aren't going to draw in the types of crowds who are coming in from wherever the fuck, who are going to spend, you know, dollars and dollars of dollars on theater. And that's not an anti-musical position. That's that you're just gonna get less daring theater in general if you do that. If you're not willing to take risks, then you're gonna have less interesting theater, and no one's going to care because the people who are willing to come in and do that, who don't know anything about it, and who have like less let me see, what's the good word for this? Less, not knowledge, but less, they don't give a shit about theater 99% of the time unless they're coming to New York. You're going to never know that those musicals or those plays that you're producing are less audacious and that theater is in a standstill artistically and creatively because they're not going to tell you. And you're not bringing in the audiences that are going to, give daring shows and small time theater the attention that it deserves. That was a messy paragraph, but I got it. I understood what you were saying. I genuinely believe that. Like, there's nothing wrong. I mean, okay, that's not true. I don't really believe that. I will say on this podcast, so that people don't get mad at me, that there's nothing wrong with people only coming to New York and saying, oh, let's go see Cats, or just Phantom of the Opera. Like, Phantom of the Opera is a fun show. Cats, for some people, that is a fun show. I've never heard of it, and I don't know what it is. I've never heard of it,
I've never seen it.
I refuse to acknowledge it. But I'm sure that it's a fun experience for some people. Whatever.
It's a very good dance showcase.
But like, when those are the two shows that are running in New York for 30 years. I mean, I think Cats has ended its run now, but like, when that's it, then that's all you're gonna get. And like, that kind of entertainment is really fun. And I'm not saying that there's nothing it's worthless to have just Phantom of the Opera levels of entertainment, but also like, it can't just be the battle of the two shows, the way that it's sometimes the battle of the two genres in film sometimes with like superhero movies and like, I don't know what the other thing would be, but like you need to let in a little bit more in there. It's like superhero movies and then like franchises that are not superhero movies. That's both of them which are owned by Disney. So that like no independent movies had the chance to swim in there. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh, man. Yeah.
It's the commercialism of art, baby.
And I remember how Stephen Sondheim hasn't had a show produced since like 2008 or something. 5, and I get sad.
I get, the only thing I have to say about that
show.
is it is sad, but also, look, I've listened to Roadshow. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know that he's working on something. Not everything has to be a hit. The concept of genius is that sometimes you produce great stuff and then you come back and then you just, make, frogs or something, and then you come back and you make Sweeney Todd. It's fine.
I own a 2-disc thing that is The Frogs and Evening Primrose.
Oh my god,
and it is, when I said I was a hipster about musical theater, how whatever you were thinking about how much of a hipster I was, it's worse.
It's worse than you think.
And you know but the worst thing is that Evening Primrose is actually really lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it's about a guy who's or it's about somebody who's lived their whole life inside of a department store. And so they've never. It's a little bit like the messed up files of Mrs. Batchelor Frankweiler if they had lived in the museum the whole time. That was a left turn.
Anyway, Steve, I love you. I recently influenced my
there's
parents.
a really beautiful. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna look up the song from Evening Primrose I love, so I can tell everybody to go listen to it.
I was in a company the musical phase in the past 3 weeks, and I was constantly talking to my parents about my musical, not snobs, but musical appreciation parents, or music appreciation parents. My mom used to work in a record store and has a very strict regulations for how we're going to operate a tabletop. Yeah, she used to work at Music Millennium.
Oh, hell yeah.
And is very big fan of vinyl.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nope. Oh, hell yeah.
Nope.
So I was just dropping hints man, it would be so great for me to own my first vinyl and have it be the original Broadway cast recording of Company. That would be so fun. Wow. I wish I could find it anywhere, but I can't find it anywhere. It'd be really cool to have this on vinyl. And finally my mom texted me from Music Millennium, and she was like, hey, this is $30. Do you want me to buy it for you? You have to pay me back. And it was Company on vinyl. And I made my parents sit down and had my mom show me how to properly operate oh my god, the word is off my head.
The turntable?
The record player, but the turner. Oh my god,
the
turntable. Oh my god, thank you, turntable. Holy shit.
As the local vinyl owner in the group, I don't know. Z, do you have any? You have the two that I'm currently holding on to for you.
I own a handful of vinyl. It's that the record player that used to be in this apartment belonged to my ex-roommate, so I have a handful of vinyl, but I don't have access to a player anymore.
Ah, there we go. Okay. That's one of 2 vinyl owners in the group.
Yeah.
It's very good, and it was very much worth it. It's actually because of the ritual of it, the only Sondheim show that I think I've managed to actually get my parents to listen to all the way through, the way that I've been threatening to do with Sweeney Todd for 10 years, 15 years. And they
Sweeney Todd is kind of a harder sell, to be fair.
It's hard. It's not always very pretty. It's fucking incredible, but it's not always enjoyable. I
don't always want to listen to Sweeney Todd.
The opening number is depressing organ music, and then this horrible loud screech of the machine.
Factory whistle.
The factory whistle, and you're I'm just gonna turn this down. And anybody who's listening to that for the first time, I'm just sorry.
That's fair.
I'm just gonna turn this part down a little bit.
Speaking of wild openers, I would like to publicly drag myself with the knowledge that when I was in high school, I had my little combined CD player radio thing as an alarm clock, and you could wake up to a CD, but only the first track. So for 3.5 solid years, I had the first disc of the original Broadway cast recording of Les Mis in there, and every day at 10 minutes to 6 before school, dun dun, dun, dun. I am surprised, frankly, that my parents did not commit infanticide and kill me.
Look, I'm right there with you. I used to fall asleep to the original Broadway cast recording of West Side Story. Not exactly, well, I mean, sometimes it can be very pretty. Not exactly an opener with a very
no
calm lullaby number. Da-da, da, not great to fall asleep to. But I loved it. So there we are.
Yeah.
man.
Oh, the song is called I Remember. Just search I Remember Evening Primrose.
Okay.
It's really lovely. I love this song. I think I have sheet music for it. Anyway, I was going to use it for auditions for a while. Yeah. The Frogs and Evening Primrose. That is to this day the weirdest thing that I have ever asked for Hanukkah.
What's a nice little coda to this? Besides, man, I love Sondheim.
I mean, I can't just start singing something which is a tragedy.
Yeah. I can't just start singing no more. Oh, you know what a good wrap up to this is? What was the musical you were most recently listening to? For me, it was the American Idiot musical.
Oh, rad! Hell yeah!
Because I think the plot is boring, but I really the American Idiot is a really good album, and it translates very well as a musical. The version of Are We the Waiting involves like a string orchestra, which is
sexy.
Fucking transcendent.
Love that album.
But
so
yeah,
much.
I'm like,
God,
I don't
how
really
exquisite.
care. I've read the plot, and I'm like, this is just not very interesting to me. I love Billy Joe very much, though. So
I do.
props to
Bisexual
him.
icon.
I have seen him
icon.
in
Yeah, we're gonna go see him this summer.
Yeah, we fucking are. Yeah, we have tickets for the big Fall Out Boy Green Day Weezer show. That's gonna
We do. We
What?
sure do, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
did you not see when we were like, "Hey, does anyone want to go?" It's,
no, I
Zee
didn't
and
see
Leia.
that. It was all three of them.
Oh, Helena, no, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
You should
It's
see if
okay.
there's still tickets though.
I'll look into it. That sounds really good. I didn't know about
Yeah.
that. I like all three of them.
Oh, okay.
I especially grew up with
The
Green Day.
most recent musical
Yes.
that I was listening to actually was either I went back and tooled through the original Broadway cast of Evita a while back because I was no, you know why? It's because it's because there's this Instagram that's called account that's just called Bygone Broadway that posts like old snapshots of, you know, rehearsal rooms, stage productions, just people hanging around from sort of the annals of days gone by. For instance, one of the latest posts is Steven Spinella and Joe Mantello in Angels in America in 1992.
God bless.
So like that's really cool. But they posted a black and white redonkulously sexy photo of vintage Mandy Patinkin. And I was like, yep, he hot. And also, like, do you ever just look at a man and go, masculinity goals?
Oh, Ezra,
so, yeah.
Did you know, I forgot to tell you, I wonder if it's already happened, that Yentl is showing at the Hollywood.
Oh, no shit. Nice.
Yeah.
That's
thought of
fun.
you, and then I was like, Ezra's not here. But
Ezra
they're
doesn't live
doing
in
it...
Portland anymore, rip.
they're doing it as part of their, like, stage on screen thing that they do with like, here's some it's actually because of Indecent. Their ART is doing Indecent.
Oh yeah,
so they're like,
I'm
here's
seriously
a related thing.
Oh, by the way, I'm seriously considering trying to get a bus ticket down to see Indecent at ART.
If you do that, I will go with you.
Yeah, if it hasn't already, I don't remember. I gotta check the dates again, but if I can afford it, I'm gonna try to come down and see it.
Okay, that'd be dope. I might try and rush it.
Nice. So yeah, that or fucking I don't know. The other one was, and then because I just went on a Mandy Patinkin kick, so I went through Evita and Sunday, obviously, because there's a reason that my Twitter bio currently includes the phrase "finishing the hat," but about my BA. And the musical of The Secret Garden, which is actually like underrated and extremely lovely. There was also a very, very cute moment in one of the like early on episodes of the first campaign of Crit Roll, where fucking Taliesin Taliesin starts making a joke about the letter song from The Secret Garden, and Liam's like gets it immediately and starts singing it back to him, and every single other person in the room is looking at them like they've both started speaking Swahili backwards. Anyway, and they're both right. That show is extremely cute, and also Mandy Patinkin is a goddamn national treasure and one of the all-time great executors of musical theater as a medium.
Yeah.
There you go.
Agree. I've been going through another Sondheim phase, which this time I'm committing to. I own Finishing the Hat and Look I Made a Hat, his collected lyrics, annotated lyrics,
Nice.
and
I have
anecdotes,
Finishing the
lines,
Hat, but
etc.
not Look I Made a Hat.
They're both extremely good. I recommend getting both if you can. And while I do that, I have also been listening to all of the shows that I have not listened to. So I did listen to Company a while back, all the way through for the first time. I'm sorry to say, because I was familiar with Being Alive and Getting Married Today beforehand, but I hadn't listened to the show all the way through. So I did that, and I'm now on A Little Night Music, which is just fucking wonderful, and I'm in love with the actress who plays Charlotte on this. What's her name? Patricia Elliott.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a role I want to play so bad.
You are going to get to call me when you get to Pacific Overtures. We need to talk.
Oh, yes. I will. I'm going to be diligent and really just get all of it, even the stuff that's just as his lyrics and everything, until I am finito.
Legit. Yo, I once, the one and only time I ever had to get cavities filled, I dealt with the dentist anxiety by putting my headphones in and turning Pacific Overtures up as loud as it would go, because it was the most complicated thing I could think of. And it so that it would take my mind off of it. And when the dentist asked me what I was listening to, I had to explain that it was a musical about the opening of Japan.
Yep.
Of course, in other fun musical theater anecdotes from my adolescence, I was in AP American History, and somebody said, just randomly was like, "Who shot William McKinley?" And I just was like, "Leon Czolgosz." And then my teacher's like, "Why do you know that?" I'm like, and I had to use the sentence, "Well, there's a musical about it."
Well, I think what you should have said was, why did you ask the question if you would expect no one was going to answer it?
Also true. I mean, that guy was a piece of shit. That's the year that I dressed up as an IWW organizer with a big sign that said "Workers of the World Unite," just to piss him off for Halloween.
Nice.
Anyway,
I feel this very deeply because I have been at work doing kind of mundane shelving stuff, and just to keep myself alive, I started to see how far I could get through Sweeney Todd in my head without stopping.
Nice.
And it's been very effective at keeping my mind off of things. So that's a mood. Shall we wrap
good
up?
for that.
Sometimes good for all the things. This was fun.
I had a good time.
This is good. Thank you, everybody listening who's playing along at home. Thank you for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake, or you can shoot us an email at sneopleatthemovies@gmail.com. Our amazing music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. That's Johnny with an H and 2 N's and a Y. Our snooper snazzy. I did that again. I've done that before.
Every time.
Look, I wrote that line. That one's my fault, but I think it's actually funnier if we say snooper snazzy because we're Sneople at the Movies.
Our super snazzy logo was designed by Bethany Leuthold. You can check her out at bethanyleuthold.wixsite.com. That's Leuthold, Leuthold. If you've got a subject you want us to talk about, or a movie that you think we absolutely need to see, or your favorite musical theater number that invokes tears, or I would say the Sondheim number that you use to distract yourself from horrible pain or mundane tasks, come say hello. Also, if you can, please leave a review on iTunes and share the show with any friends you think would enjoy it. Any way you can continue to spread the news helps us so much, and we would really appreciate it. It's really amazing that we've been able to do this for a whole ass year, and we wouldn't be doing that if we didn't have the support that we've gotten from all of you, so thank you. And if it wasn't amazingly fun to record with you guys.
Yeah.
There's that too.
Like that.
As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.
have a stinger for this episode. And it is this. The only two originally American art forms are jazz and musical theater, and you can thank respectively Black Americans and Jewish Americans for those things. White nationalists, eat shit and die.
When you're right, you're right.
Yeah, so that's that. Put that on after the music goes out.
You got it, boss.
Thank you.